Good morning, friends. I'm finally going to answer all the questions for my Q&A. I only had about 12, but some of my answers are going to be a little lengthy. So why don't we start? Let's see. How do you deal with it all? I journal, I write poetry, and I take a lot of medication, therapy. That's a tough question to answer, but it's hard to deal with it all. Next question. My hardest diagnosis to hear. Crohn's was definitely the hardest because it was my first big diagnosis, and I knew that it was illness I would live with for the rest of my life. And I was diagnosed at 17. I was a senior in high school, so that was probably the hardest. My second hardest was probably bipolar, because that's also an illness that is incurable. I mean, you can manage the symptoms, but that's also so physical health, mental health. I have conditions that I'm going to have the rest of my life. But there's treatments, but there's also Crohn's flares, and there's also bipolar episodes of mania, mixed episode, depression, and then the mixed episodes. What were you addicted to? Pills. Specifically pain pills, because I started getting diagnosed at such a young age that I was always in so much pain, so they were always giving me prescriptions for Oxy and Vicodin, and then I'd go to the ER, or I'd be inpatient in hospital, and they'd give me an IV and just pump me full of hard high dose narcotics like Dilaudid, which is one of the strongest ones. So there were times when I was younger, I'd go to the hospital just so I could, get that 10-minute rush of euphoria just from the IV medications. I know that sounds horrible. I know I'm trying to make this a fun Q&A, but some of these questions. How do you prevent Crohn's flares, and what do you do to minimize the length and severity? Okay, so what I try to do to not have a Crohn's flare is, if I feel one coming on, I don't eat a lot of stuff that makes me flare, including leafy vegetables, corn. I try to stay away from alcohol if I know I'm having a flare. To minimize the flares, I'm usually put on steroids. Yeah. Do you like to game? If so, what is your favorite game? Okay, so this is gonna sound super lame, but my favorite games to play are Sims and Fallout 4. I have over 300 hours in Fallout 4. I've beaten it so many times, but I could play that game all day, every day if I had the time, which I did during my younger years when I wasn't working and when I was feeling well. And Sims, I go way back with Sims. Chef's kiss. My favorite beverage. I love Diet Dr. Pepper. Oh my god, Diet Dr. Pepper is my go-to drink. Add some grenadine into that. Got some cherry Diet Coke, Diet Coke. Got some cherry Diet Dr. Pepper. Again, chef's kiss. Alcoholic beverage, I prefer Malibu Bay Breeze, and I also love water. I don't understand people who are like, oh, I can't drink water, I don't like it. I love water. Personally, I just love water. My dream job. So I work in healthcare, and if I had to, but I'm also very artistic. I paint, do poetry, photography. My dream job, I have two dream jobs. Dream job one, be a professional photographer, make a living out of that, have my own studio, My other dream job would be administrator for a hospital or a medical practice, because I love healthcare, and I know it sounds weird, but I just like knowing that I'm helping people. I don't think I'll ever get out of the healthcare field. My favorite food. Let's see. Oh my god. I don't know. I can tell you the last night I ate 4 pieces of pizza. This is a tough one because I love food. As you can tell, I love food. This is a toughie. I didn't think this one would be so hard. Hold on. Let me think on this one. Yeah, I don't know. I just love food. I love Chinese food. I love pizza. Ooh, but I do love. I have ADHD, and I get those like safe foods where I eat for like 2 months and then never eat them again. Right now, one of my biggest safe foods is those cottage cheese cups that come with like little fruit, and then you dump the fruit in the cottage cheese. I get the peaches, and I get the ones with peaches. I could eat those every day forever. Well, until give me like another week or two, and my body's gonna be like, ew, no, you hate this. How do you stay positive with so many tribulations? It's hard. It's really, really hard to stay positive, but there are days where I am negative. I'm so negative about it, but I like to. It's hard. It is hard to stay positive. Sometimes I try to just stay positive as like a show, as like a mask, but just knowing I'm alive and that other people have it worse than me gives me like hope. I don't know. I'm really bad at this, guys. I'm so sorry. What effects has Crohn's had on your body? Let's see. I have all my teeth are mostly crowns. I have multiple cavities. My teeth. One of my biggest. Oh, hi, kitten. One of my biggest ones is dental, like tooth loss, tooth decay. People don't realize that Crohn's can really like affect your mouth. Like I get mouth ulcers. My weight fluctuates like highs to lows. Right now I'm my heaviest I've ever been in my life, but I don't feel it. I don't think I look it either. My joints are pretty much fucked. I have arthritis, I have chronic pain, I have neuropathy, and this is all from the Crohn's, and people don't realize that. How do people treat you knowing your condition? Well, when it comes to Crohn's, people just treat me as sick. For example, there's a family vacation coming up, and I was not invited because they said I would be too sick to go, and that really hurt. That really, really, really hurt. So people just treat me like, when they find out I'm bipolar, some people step away because they think I'm crazy. Or when I tell them I have ADHD, they're like, they ask a lot of questions like, oh my god, I never knew you had ADHD, I could never tell. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm medicated. And this is our last question. You mentioned being in the psych ward unit. Did that help? So I've been in the psych unit at least 20 times. Sometimes it helped, sometimes it made me worse. Sometimes I'd leave manic, sometimes I would leave still depressed. There were times that I left amazing. My last stay in the psych ward was almost 3 years ago when I tried to myself for the very last time. I was in ICU and then had to go straight to psych after the ICU. That really helped me because I got sent to a completely different hospital, a very scary hospital, and they put me in a unit of very aggressive patients, one that would harass me and like just jump in my face saying they were going to me. And that was like my wake-up call, like I never want to be here again. So I think that definitely helped, but there's been some really hard times in the psych ward where like the psychiatrist like don't believe you. Psych ward story, I actually had a man, he was the room next to me, he committed in the psych unit, and that really impacted me. So when I left there, I was really depressed, so that did not help. But there's been times where I've had great doctors, great nurses, great social workers, great techs that have helped. But really, my wake-up call was that last visit almost 3 years ago. And that is it for my Q&A. It is now 6:15 in the morning, or is it 7:15? It's 7:15 in the morning. So I'm going to end with that, and I'm going to start my day. And I hope you all enjoyed. I hope I answered all your questions. And I just want to say thank you all for still subscribing and watching my stuff, because I know I can be boring. But anyway, enjoy your weekend.